and welcome to Senate 109. I am Victor Azu. Now, the 9th Senate has come alive with its inauguration, culminating in former Senate leader Ahmed Lawan emerging President of the Senate. The 9th Senate also elected Senator representing Delta Central, Ovieomo Agege, as Deputy President of the Senate.
Distinguished Senators-elect, by the roll call, I'm happy to announce that 107 senators out of 109 are present. We therefore have constituted quorum to run the business of the day, which is the election of the President of the Senate and the Deputy President of the Senate. And according to the standing rule, a senator-elect addressing the clerk shall propose another senator-elect to the Senate to be President of the Senate, and shall move that such senator-elect do take the chair of the Senate as President of the Senate. And the senator-elect, when nominated and seconded, thereafter it shall be seconded. A senator-elect, when nominated and seconded, shall inform the Senate whether he or she accepts the nomination, and then he may proceed to address the Senate. Thereafter, we will call for further nominations, and it will be in like manner. So, may I therefore invite a senator-elect to propose another senator-elect to the Senate to be President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I rise to move a motion nominating Senator-elect Ahmad Ibrahim Lawan to take chair as the Senate President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I so move.
May I invite Senator-elect Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan to accept the nomination.
The Clerk of the National Assembly. My name is Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan. I represent Yobe North. I stand to humbly accept the nomination as moved and seconded. My very distinguished and very respected Senators-elect, let me congratulate all of us for having been returned elected to represent our people in the Senate. This is an opportunity for us to work together, to remain united as an institution, to remain focused for delivering those very vital and critical and crucial legislative interventions that are necessary to provide for sustainable good governance in this country. Today, we are all united by one thing, that as representatives of Nigerians, we are in it together. We are faced with the reality of ensuring that nothing, and I repeat, nothing, comes between us in our pursuit to ensure that this institution performs those mandatory and statutory constitutional provisions to ensure that we work as a team, we provide the support that is required for the government to function. I am of the APC stock, and there are many of our colleagues who belong to different political parties, particularly the PDP and indeed the YPP. But I believe that having come here, the story we are supposed to tell tomorrow is that we have been able to work together, we have been able to achieve together, that partisanship does not in any way hinder us from performing from working together and delivering those essential legislative interventions. Government has one fundamental function. That function is to provide security and, of course, welfare of the people. Security tomorrow should be better than security today. Even though we have worked so hard in the last 4 years to provide security in this country, but we are still faced with challenges. These challenges require that we all come together, irrespective of our parties and platforms, for us to provide the climate for our citizens to be safe, the climate for businesses to be established, climate for employment opportunities for our people.
Are there any further nomination? Senator-elect.
My name is Senator-elect Ishiaku Abo, elected to represent the very dogged and resilient people of Adamawa North. Do move a motion to nominate Senator Mohammed Ali Ndume to take the chair of the Senate as President of the Senate. I so move.
The Clerk of the National Assembly, distinguished Senators-elect, I am Mpigi Barinada. I represent the people of Rivers Southeast Senatorial Zone. I stand to second the able motion moved by my colleague for Ndume to be the Senate President.
Senator-elect Mohammed Ali Ndume, can you please accept?
The Clerk of the National Assembly, my distinguished colleagues, Senators-elect, and our invited guests here, I humbly accept the nomination that I take the chair as the Senate President of the 9th Senate. I feel that I have to be grateful to Almighty Allah for being here since 2003 consecutively. And the institution continued to change over time. And that is why, up initio, I presented to my distinguished colleagues my 9-point agenda. First, starting with the office of the Senate President itself. Gradually, we are moving to a situation where we have Senators President, not Senate President. And what do you do to correct that? You dismantle the office of the Senate President so that it will so much be an office of an individual that is one among equals. My colleagues will make a decision on that, but those that have been here for a while know that this office is gradually losing, or the senators' right prestige is going down, because the powers of the Senate or the senator, a senator, is virtually taken and controlled by the office of the Senate President. We now have members of the Senate instead of senators. And we really need to do that. That's the first thing. The second thing that we need to do is to understand that this Senate is an arm of government that is deliberately created to work interdependently and harmoniously with the executive without compromising the constitutional responsibility of the Senate, or legislative arm of government. And as a member of this our great party, we have a very laudable program. It will be our intention to collectively work and move Nigeria to the next level by further deepening and enhancing Mr. President's agenda, basically of security, infrastructure, and fight against corruption. Thirdly, we have a major issue of budget in this country. our budget is sponsored almost 70% by other domestic or foreign borrowing. And we know there are so many leakages that if taken care of, will be able to finance our budget instead of borrowing year in, year out. And as it relates to budget too, one of the fundamental problems that we have before us that even affect the image of the Senate is the timeline that it takes to pass the budget. With my colleagues, it is my intention that we work together so that we have a timeline to pass a budget. To my thinking, 3 months is enough. And we should also have time that confirmations must be passed. We also need to have time that bills should be passed. And we really have to work hand in hand with the executive so that we avoid all the unnecessary rancors that happen.
Distinguished senators-elect, I'm happy to report that the 107 senators casted their votes. And at the end of the voting, this is the result. Senator-elect Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal, 79 votes. Senator-elect Muhammad Ali Ndume, 28 votes. Total votes cast 107. On the strength of this, therefore, it is my pleasure to announce that Senator-elect Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal, having scored the highest votes of the total number of votes cast, is hereby returned as duly elected President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Oath of allegiance. I,
Ahmad Ibrahim Lawan,
do solemnly affirm. I will invite a senator-elect to nominate another senator-elect to take the chair as Deputy President of the Senate. Distinguished.
I remain Senator-elect Ahmed Baba Keita, representing Katsina North, the Golden Constituency. I move that Senator-elect Obi Omo Agege take the chair of the Deputy President. I so move.
Mr. President, the Clerk of the National Assembly, with a heart full of humility, I rise to accept the nomination to serve as the Deputy Senate President of the 9th Senate.
I am Senator-elect Chukwuka Otaze of Enugu North Senatorial District of Enugu State. I stand to nominate Ike Kwedemadu, the Senator-elect representing Enugu West Senatorial District of Enugu State. I so move.
Very distinguished colleagues, on this note and with humility, I'd like to accept the nomination for me to take the seat of the Deputy President of the Senate of the 9th Assembly.
I wish to announce that the election for the office of the Deputy Senate President has been concluded. At the end of the elections, 105 senators-elect voted. 1 abstained, and there was 1 invalid vote. The scores are as follows. Senator-elect Ovie A. Omo Agege, 68 votes. Senator-elect Ike Ikweremadu, 37 votes. Therefore, Senator Ovie Omo Agege, having scored the highest number of votes, is declared elected as the Deputy President of the Senate.
With inauguration out of the way, the 9th Senate at its first sitting resolved to write President Muhammadu Buhari to officially notify him that a quorum of the Senate of the 9th Assembly has assembled and presiding officers have been elected. The Senate is to, in the same vein, inform other global and continental parliamentary bodies.
Mr. President, the first order of the day is a motion standing in my name that the Senate do send a message to the President and Commander-in-Chief informing him that the quorum of the Senate assembled and that the presiding officers of the 9th Assembly of the Senate has been elected as follows. 1. Senate President, Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawan, Yobe North. 2. Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Ovie Omo Agege, Delta Central. I so move, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I rise to second the motion that the Senate do send a message to Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief, informing him that a quorum of the Senate has been assembled and that the presiding officers of the 9th National Assembly of the Senate have been elected as follows. Senator Ahmed Ibrahim Lawal, Yobe North, President of the Senate. 2. Senator Ovie Omo Agege, Delta Central, Deputy President of the Senate, as proposed by the Deputy President of the Senate, I so second.
The ayes have it.
And some political players, including newly elected Senator representing Jigawa North, Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, have been speaking on their expectations of the 9th Senate.
I think we have a lot to catch up with. We need to make up for lost time. We need to make some corrections. And I think from the first sitting I saw on the Senate, the kind of what I realized that there was a high turnover. There's a lot of new senators that are coming in. More than half of the senators there are new. They don't have any overhang. They don't have any institutional memory of what happened. So everybody is coming in with his own agenda, and most of us have watched what has happened over the last 4 years, and we are coming with the intention of ensuring that it doesn't happen again. And those that remained in the Senate, by another coincidence, you find that most of them are senators who are in their second, third, fourth terms. So with that combination of legislative experience and the diverse and professional nature of the new members coming in, I think you will see that a new course will be charted for the 9th Assembly, both at the Senate and the House of Reps. Part of the agenda of the new National Assembly leadership is to sanitize this budget cycle. You understand, to ensure that this January to December cycle is sacrosanct, and we have a budget by December signed off, and it begins implementing in January. As a political party, we have our policy direction, and the fact that we agree or we all come together with the executive to ensure that that is implemented does not mean that we're a rubber stamp. You don't have to have confrontation to show the world that you are doing your job or you are carrying out your responsibility as a senator. I'll give you an example. Bills that were sent to the executive and sent back. I said, it is nowhere in the world you have a situation where the same party is controlling the executive and legislature, and there hasn't been some off-the-record consultation on certain things in terms of budget. There is a senior special advisor on legislative matters. Nothing stops one or two, evening sessions with the president to rub minds on these things, so that by the time he gets the bill to assent, it's something that is familiar to him already. The bipartisan atmosphere I've seen is fantastic, and I think people will see it come into play as we begin to do our job.
For us, we want to say congratulations to Nigeria. Congratulations them because it is now that we have an experienced legislator as the Senate President, in person that 20 years he has been in the National Assembly. We believe that when you are talking of separation of power, the principle of separation of power, where the legislature, the executives, and the judiciary have separate functions. And you now also look at that. There's also principle of checks and balances. And if I would like this 9th Assembly to now focus on the legislative matter, not to dabble into executive matter or judicial matter. Yes, we must now start looking at legislation as serving the country, not being the legislative house to make money. And this, I believe, the present Senate leadership will uphold. He has been in this assembly for 20 years, he has not been finding money. And he must now prove to Nigerians that given this mandate, that is capable and able to now refocus and rejig our legislative to observe that principle of separation of power, and then checks and balances. Yes, where they can also check the executive check them, and judiciary also. And work harmoniously for the benefit of Nigeria. And then, in order to move Nigeria forward, it is time for legislators to now look at legislations that will improve our electoral system.
Finally, let's also inform you that former Imo State Governor Rochas Okorocha has been sworn in as senator representing Imo West after the Independent National Electoral Commission issued him a certificate of return as directed by the court.
I want to thank especially the judiciary for being the last hope of the common man and being the last hope of the oppressed, whatever situation and circumstances he find himself. But without the judiciary, I wouldn't have been here. And I also want to thank the INEC for owning up boldly and do the right thing, which goes a long way to explain that all those accusations were unfounded of my person. And so I am very thankful to INEC for having released my certificate of returns and having been sworn in. So I'm ready to go.
That's the package. Senate 109 returns same time next week. I'm Victor Azu.